Welcome back to the channel. In my ongoing mission to help you understand law and to deal with problems that you might run into, I feel compelled to talk about this one company in particular and reviews left on Trustpilot for this company, which ironically you may not be able to trust, but I'll leave you to make up your own mind based on what I say about it in this video and what I show you, and I will link to it in the description below so you can see it for yourself. Before I get into the company itself, I am going to plug something very exciting which I am developing with the help of somebody who's joined me on this mission, which will assist you in resolving legal disputes even before they pop up. Allow me to introduce you to Profify. Profify is an app that allows you to store proof and evidence for anything that you may need to use in a claim in the future, whether that's a claim against someone else or whether it's defending a claim from someone else. With Profify, you will be guided through the various bits of evidence that you might need to prove up your case in future. Allow me to give you one example before we get into the company that I want to talk about. Imagine you're taking your vehicle for an MOT and you don't want them to dent your alloy wheels. And if they do, you want them to be held responsible for those alloy wheels. But obviously you take your car for an MOT, you don't know whether they're going to reverse it out, bump it up the curb, and then when you get there and say, hey, what's wrong with this wheel? Why is the wheel dented? They might say, well, it was like that when you got here. If you had proof that this wheel was perfectly fine when you dropped it off, and it was only dented when you picked the car up, then a claim against them would be relatively straightforward. Your photograph would be time stamped and date stamped and GPS stamped, so you could show exactly when and where you took that photograph, showing that it was perfectly fine. And then later on, if you pick it up and it's damaged, it's a fairly clear-cut case that it was damaged in between those two times. Now, of course, you might say, well, I can do that anyway. I can just take a photograph on my phone and store it. Yes, you can. However, when you end up with thousands of photographs in your library, you'll have to trawl through them and find the relevant ones, or maybe they get lost. Whereas with Profify, there'll be various bits of evidence that I will construct a template for to tell you which bits of evidence are most likely going to be useful. This could be useful not just for your car and things like that, but if you're buying something, selling something, receiving something through the post, sending something off through the post. Remember, I had one of my viewers avoid a scam when he was selling a phone and they sent him a box back with something else in it and said there was no phone in there. All of these different things, anything that you want to prove, you can use Profify. So join the waiting list. It's profify.app. Join the waiting list, and very, very shortly we will be launching an early bird discounted membership. So look out for that. That will be coming very soon. That's Profify. So now you could use Profify to back up some of your claims against some companies that perhaps don't deliver the service that you really expected. So I had the following company brought to my attention, which is Smile Direct Club. Many of you may have seen the adverts for it. It's quite a prolific advertiser. In fact, it seems to be a worldwide company. They seem to be operating internationally in all sorts of different jurisdictions. Now, on the surface, it looks very reputable. They send you an impressions kit to form impressions of your teeth, and then they send you aligners and supposedly correct any imperfections in your teeth and alignment in your teeth and so on. However, as I said, it was brought to my attention because not everybody has had such a great experience with Smile Direct Club. Now, when you Google around and have a look around, you can find some pages such as this Reddit page here, where someone has said, assuming that it is the same Smile Direct Club, I expect that it would be, but it may not, just for full disclosure, but it appears to be. They say that they've been offered an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, if they wanted a refund. So that suggests that they are being offered a refund so long as they don't disclose the fact that they've received a refund or the basis upon which they were given a refund. This led me to looking into this a little bit more. Then I find some news articles such as this one on The Verge. Teeth aligning company Smile Direct Club is using NDAs to stifle bad reviews online. that seems out of alignment, fantastic pun, with the company's feel-good image. And sure enough, the branding and the logo and everything else in this news article appears to be the same company. So this here again suggests that Smile Direct Club is offering people a non-disclosure agreement in exchange for a refund because they are disgruntled and unhappy with the service. Sure enough, look a little further, it even made its way into the New York Times. This company says it will fix your smile and it may shush you if it doesn't. Smile Direct Club, which sells teeth aligners online, has worked to limit information about customer dissatisfaction. So then I think to myself, where does one look when you are looking for genuine and honest reviews? Aside from my channel, of course, so make sure you subscribe here. But where does one look for genuine reviews if you want to determine whether you can trust this company or not? Well, one place I certainly used to look very often was Trustpilot. But I'm not sure that I can trust Trustpilot so much anymore. I'm going to tell you why. So I'll give you my reasons why. I will show you the basis upon which that I've come to that conclusion, and you can make up your own mind. So if any of Trustpilot's lawyers look at this, you are left to make up your own mind. This is my opinion based on the reasoning that I'm going to give you, but you can decide for yourself. So this is my opinion based on an experience of reading these reviews, and you can see what you think for yourself. So let's look at some of the reviews, shall we, for Smile Direct Club on Trustpilot. And the same goes, by the way, for the content of those reviews in respect of Smile Direct Club. So these are obviously just reviews left by other people, and make of them what you will. You will see straight away that there is a distinct group of reviews left in the 5-star column, and then a heavily weighted 1-star column. Now, I don't know about you, but I tend to look at both the top and the bottom. I look at why people say they love it and why people clearly say they do not love it. But out of 14,000 odd reviews, that's quite some feat of acquiring that many reviews. To Trustpilot's credit, you will notice on the right-hand side that it says may use unsupported invitation methods. I'm going to come back to that in a moment, and I'm going to throw up a hypothesis as to what I think may be happening. It may not be the case, but it's what I think may be happening as to why this disclaimer is here. Trustpilot says, we've detected that this company may be asking for reviews in a way that Trustpilot doesn't support. This can lead to bias and compromise the reliability of reviews. Trustpilot provides companies with free and supported methods to send review invitations. These help ensure that reviews are genuine and asked for in a fair, consistent way. Now, one example would be that I expect Trustpilot to think of being biased, compromise, and in a way that is unsupported by Trustpilot would be, for example, if I were to say to you, if you gave my new app a 5-star review, I will give you a free month or something like that. I would consider that to be biased, so I'm not going to do that. At some point when we do launch it properly, and perhaps it does make its way onto Trustpilot, it may start earning reviews genuinely, naturally, normally, but we will not be quote-unquote buying your reviews in that way. Some companies might. Now, I'm going to give you my views on a hypothesis which may or may not be happening in this case, but we will get to that in just a moment. So with that in mind, with Trustpilot's disclaimer in mind here to say that they've detected that this company may be asking for reviews in a way that Trustpilot doesn't support, which might lead to bias and compromise, let's take a look at some of those reviews. As I said, I always look at the top and the bottom. So let's be fair, let's look at the top first. Let's just filter by the 5-star reviews and let's look at some of those top reviews. Actually, I'm going to do it the other way around. There's a reason for it. I'll do it the other way around. I'm going to look at the negative ones first. The first negative one says, believe the bad reviews. Absolutely awful. Do believe the bad reviews. I've been on a 5-month treatment plan. Now, there's something that I will pick up here which I think is important because it will play a part in my hypothesis a little later on. I've been on a 5-month treatment plan for 3 years and it's still not over. So in other words, they've paid for something that should have lasted 5 months and yet they've been doing it for 3 years, not over, etc. Let's look to the next one. I cancelled my order in early January but never got refunded. So I've been in contact with customer services 5 times to ask for my refund. Each time they say it wasn't processed properly. So they've sorted it for me and it will be in my bank account in 2 to 10 business days. Now, this is something that I've heard personally from a personal experience. This is the phrase that is used. The refund will be with you in 2 to 10 business days, but actually doesn't arrive. Not impressed. All I want is my refund, it says. The next one says, terrible, I cancelled my order almost instantly after ordering because I regretted it and they never sent the starter kit, which was fair enough, but ever since I've been trying to get a refund from various departments, but it never happened. The next one says, months of terrible customer support. The next one says, shocking service. The only time they're helpful is before you purchase. I was put on the wrong plan. Subsequently, my aligners did not fit correctly. The next one says, original treatment plan didn't work. The next one says, do not purchase. I got provided with aligners for 4 months to straighten my teeth. None of my aligners fitted correctly and has made no difference to my teeth. The next one says, attended for a 3D scan but poor service. And this goes on and on and on. You can obviously imagine the remainder of those 1-star reviews are obviously pretty one-sided, no pun intended there, but they all speak a similar story. So let's go back. You might think, well, a few people will leave a 1-star review. Maybe they just had a bad experience. Maybe the overwhelmingly high percentage of 83% that left a 5-star review will outweigh this and mean that actually it's a fantastic service and so on and so forth, which it may or may not be. But let's dig into those 5-star reviews and take a look and see what we think about those. And I'll give you my views as we go along, why I think that, and you can make up your own mind as to what you think as well. So let's filter by the 5-star reviews. I'm not going to bother with the ones in between, otherwise this video will be an hour and a half long, and I know you don't have that long. Let's look at some of the 5-star reviews. Smile Dental Plan. I went to Smile Dental today. Simon was a lovely host, explained the process and procedures and so on and so on. All sounds great so far. But the bit that catches my attention in this first review is this bit here. I'm looking forward to receiving my kit. So, haven't received the kit yet. So, my first question, as a lawyer, call me a lawyer, my first question is, how can you leave a 5-star review for a service you haven't yet had? Looking forward to receiving my kit. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt and read on. Let's look at the next review. I feel a lot better leaving the appointment knowing I have the right treatment to suit my teeth. I'd be comfortable visiting again. Not really clear as to whether they've had it. It looks like they've just had the appointment and actually not had the treatment. But again, let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. Let's look at the next one. Those words again come to my attention immediately. I look forward to receiving my smile box. I was made to feel valued and comfortable and reassured. That's great. But again, I look forward to receiving my smile box. So whilst they were greeted by a lovely advisor who explained in detail the process, answered the questions and so on, still yet to receive the smile box being either the rebate kit or the retainers, one or the other. Let's read on. It appears that they haven't had the treatment yet, but let's read on. Coming to the end of treatment plan and one tooth hasn't moved how expected, so called me in for a rescan, hassle-free. That one seems pretty good. Let's move to the next one. Really good experience. I was very apprehensive about going to the journey. Put it off for 5 years. There's a familiar phrase, awaiting my retainers now. So again, as a lawyer, how can you rate a service as 5 stars when you haven't yet had the service? Your experience so far, perhaps you can rate the experience so far. But if you were going to this company because you want the end result, and you go to Trustpilot to see if you can trust the company, you might trust Trustpilot's 5-star review on the service that the company offers. That's a reasonable assumption to make. But again, as the lawyer here, awaiting my retainers now. So they've rated 5 stars for a service they haven't yet had. So it can only be on their experience thus far. So granted, it might well be a 5-star rated experience on the service they've had thus far. But from the wording of this review, it is not 5 stars based on the results of the service that the company is set up to offer, i.e. teeth straightening and realignment. Let's move on. Had a consultation today. Explained everything in detail. Familiar pattern as before. Friendly welcoming at Trafford Park. Doesn't say much more. Maybe they did have further treatment, but this appears to be that they've just had the first appointment. But again, benefit of the doubt. Let's move on. There's those words again at the end. Look forward to my new smile, i.e. it hasn't happened yet. I think you should be starting to get the picture by now that these reviews tend to follow a similar pattern in that they rate the service at whichever appointment they've had, and they conclude by saying they look forward to receiving the box, they look forward to having the new smile, and so on. If we scan down to let's page 2 and have a look at some random ones here. Again, attentive to my questions, nice and welcoming, good experience, but again doesn't say that it's, my teeth are straightened. There's nothing in there to say they've had the service. So we go through lots and lots and lots of these, and I've been through lots of these. They all follow a similar pattern in that they describe the experience of visiting the clinic, having their questions answered, almost like there's a tick box review, suggestions, if you will, as to what they might include in the review. Now, I happen to know that the rebate kit that they send out online has an advert. I know this because I've seen it. It says if you send the rebate kit back, they refund the fee paid for the rebate kit, which is £10 or £20 or something. I think £10 when I saw it. I think that was a discounted price when I saw it, but it was £10, and it said you'll be refunded if you return, or when you return, the rebate kit. When this question is put to them, the answer is you receive the rebate, the refund of the £10, 72 hours, or it is triggered 72 hours after they receive the impressions kit back. However, I happen to know that after 7 or 8 days of such a kit being returned, the refund has not happened in at least one case. I don't know if that's the norm. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I'm recalling now the Trustpilot warning, disclaimer, if you will, that says we've detected that this company may be asking for reviews in a way that Trustpilot doesn't support. My hypothesis is as follows. It's possible that either visiting the clinic in person or doing it online, that the rebate is free if you provide them a 5-star review. And I say that because many of those 5-star reviews I've just taken you through follow a very similar pattern, and a pattern suggests that it's by design, and if it's by design, then it's potentially set out as a bullet point suggestion on how you might go about writing this review. And the fact that there's a disclaimer there by Trustpilot that says we've detected the company may be asking for reviews in a way that they don't support, perhaps, my hypothesis is perhaps they are offering a free rebate, free session, free molding of the teeth or whatever in exchange for a 5-star review or a positive review or just any kind of, well, not a negative one, perhaps. If you leave us a nice review or whatever, the service is free. The impressions are free. As I say, you can make up your own mind. It may or may not be true. I believe that might well be the case based on everything that I've just explained. And so if you see the adverts pop up and you look at Trustpilot and you think, wowzers, 14,000 reviews and almost 5 stars, take a close look. Remember my video. Give it some thought, I would say, before you part with any money, particularly if you have to part with money up front, because it's always more difficult to part with money up front to get it back later, rather than if you've paid in stages and if it's not going to plan, then you can stop the payments and then dispute it. But if they've got all of your money up front, then they have the cards. They have the winning hand at that point in time, because they've got your money already and you have to fight to get it back. So I'd be very interested in your thoughts and comments, whether you agree with me or disagree with me on my views about these reviews. I'm particularly interested in Trustpilot's disclaimer there. They're outright saying that the reviews may be biased. So that would go against the whole ethos of Trustpilot. Now, particularly given the recent rulings about reviews being defamatory at the initial hearing in a defamation claim against Trustpilot, that could throw up a big spanner, because not only could some reviews be defamatory, but some reviews could be misleading. So maybe if someone were to rely on the collective reviews on this website, if someone were to rely on the collective 14,000 reviews on this Trustpilot listing for Smile Direct Club, and therefore part with money, that is potentially misleading. Now, could that amount to negligent misrepresentation, perhaps? Because there is a representation that this is almost a sterling reputation. However, there is a disclaimer that it may be biased. So maybe that's why this disclaimer is there. Trustpilot is, we're a bit worried about this one. We don't want to be blamed for somebody relying on this ostensibly impeccable reputation, when in fact it may be biased, says Trustpilot. So there it is. Those are my views. You're welcome to draw your own for things like this. I'd be interested in your thoughts and comments in the box below. And before you go, make sure you are on the waiting list for Profify and decide what it is that you might want to Profify today. Maybe you've agreed to lend somebody something and you want to prove that they are taking it and they're going to give it back. Maybe you just want to prove the condition of it before you give it to them, so that if there's a scratch on it when it comes back, you can say, hey, look, this was the condition before I lent it to you. Now it comes back with a scratch. I can prove it with Profify. Make sure you're on the waiting list. It's very exciting. There's lots to come. I am very excited to share with you what more this can do. There's loads more to talk about, but get on that waiting list. Link is in the description below, and there will be an early bird discount price coming soon, hopefully next week. So keep pressing me. I'm very excited to keep talking about this and what it might be able to do for your legal disputes and help you to resolve your legal disputes. So now, not only am I going to help you understand law, but I'm going to help you resolve your disputes as well. So in the meantime, please smash that like button, subscribe, make sure you're on the waiting list for Profify, and as always, thank you for watching.